Matt Gaetz and Josh Hawley are coming for Twitter. It's not just Donald Trump. You may have been following the story, but things are getting a little bit spicy. Shadow contributor Rep. Matt Gaetz says Twitter is acting on behalf of the DNC in an FEC complaint. I think that's a bold statement. I don't think it's true, but I think Matt Gaetz brings up a very good point. When Twitter targets the president, they are giving an advantage to the president's political rivals. So it's not necessarily an in-kind contribution, but that's kind of what Matt Gaetz is arguing. Think about it this way. If I only ever allowed one candidate on my channel or something like that, you could argue that it's benefiting their campaign by giving them a platform to speak over and over again. I don't exactly know how the laws work for that, but I do know there's some kind of I don't know what it's called. I can't remember. You guys probably know. They have to, if like Saturday Night Live wants to have a candidate on, they got to have the other candidate on. Otherwise, it's considered like a contribution of some sort. Think about what Twitter is. Right now, Ted Cruz is claiming Twitter is illegally violating sanctions with Iran by giving the Iranian government access to the platform. Let's read this story, right? And therein lies the point. The main point is you have pressed on conservatives too much. You have banned them. And now the Republican politicians are going for, they're going for the throat. Various points of weakness. Trump on Section 230. Gaetz on FEC violation. Ted Cruz on breaking the law. And I think there's even something that Josh Hawley is working on, and potentially Gaetz, to take away Section 230 protections as well. Let's see what the Daily Caller says. They report Republican Florida Rep. Matt Gaetz filed a complaint Friday with the Federal Election Commission against Twitter. Gaetz claims that Twitter, in fact-checking a post from President Trump, has shifted from its perceived role as a neutral media platform and is actively campaigning for the Democratic Party in advance of the 2020 election. Twitter has taken upon itself to free ride on one of the president's tweets as a campaigning activity. The social media platform is overstepping boundaries and setting aside its privileged role as a mere interactive computer service, and instead acting as a shadow contributor to the Democratic National Committee. The complaint provided to the Daily Caller explained, by trespassing its role as a Section 230 protected forum, Twitter has acted as a campaign contributor and not as a mere interactive computer service. At this point, I must add, Jack Dorsey said the buck stops with him. When they fact-checked Donald Trump's opinion, he said there's a lot of people involved, but he takes responsibility. Okay, he takes responsibility. Did you know that Jack Dorsey made maximum contributions to Democratic presidential candidates? I'm pretty sure it was Tulsi Gabbard. He may have contributed to Yang, but he did contribute to Tulsi Gabbard, the maximum amount. I respect that. I like Tulsi Gabbard too. But hold on a minute. If you run Twitter and you're actively donating to Democrats and you say you're responsible for the negative impact on the president's posts and you are not fact-checking Democrats, I think we got a serious problem here, buddy. Sounds like you're using your political, your business, your massive multi-billion-dollar enterprise to benefit a political party in which you donate to. We got a serious problem there. Now, I think, people make donations, and Jack Dorsey on a personal level made a donation. Twitter didn't. But Jack Dorsey says it's his responsibility. So can you, as an individual, use the weight of your business to negatively impact a political candidate? I'm pretty sure you can't. I mean, I'm not an election lawyer, but seems kind of messed up, right? But before we get started, I've got to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, BioTrust. Head over to healthwithtim.com or click the link in the description below, and you can get 51% off BioTrust's Ageless Multi-Collagen Supplement. That's right. I am officially now selling supplements, but to be fair, I am a 34-year-old skateboarder. I only like promoting things I actually use, and I actually take BioTrust. It's pretty great. The cat apparently likes it. There's cat bite marks all over it for some reason, but I do. I skate every day. I mix it in my smoothies because I need it for my knees, my joints, my muscles, my tendons. So I'm trying to do the best I can to stay healthy. But collagen is good for a lot of other things too. It's good for your skin. It's good for your hair, which admittedly don't have a lot of, but I do have this excellent beard. But more importantly, it's good for strong, healthy muscles, tendons, ligaments, and bones. And that's really, really important to me. If it's something you think is great for you, click the link in the description below. Check out healthwithtim.com and you can get it for 51% off. But let's get back to the story. Gates amplified on his concern. Twitter is not expressing free speech. They are acting as a publisher. And I would say they're acting through, though political activity, they're acting though political activity when they've chosen to characterize the president's comments often inaccurately. I believe they are outside the law, Gates continued, saying that this led him to the second portion of his complaint, exceeding mandated donation limits. If these editorial comments are in fact donations on a platform, they would undeniably exceed the federal limits for donations. Trump issued an executive order Thursday that would strip social media giants of their exemption from libel laws if they continue to censor posts. You know, the Winklevoss twins, I think it was Cameron Winklevoss. You may know who he is. He's one of the allegedly, I don't know the full story, but like he hired Mark Zuckerberg to make Facebook, and then Mark Zuckerberg took the money, but then, I'm sorry, to make Harvard Connection or something. Mark Zuckerberg got paid, but then spent his time making Facebook, and they sued him, and it was all in that movie. I don't know a whole lot about it. But he said, imagine if, your phone carrier fact-checked your phone calls, right? And a bunch of leftists were like, imagine being this dumb and tweeting and just throwing shit at him. But he makes a good point. If Twitter is a neutral platform that anybody can post on, what's the difference between that and a phone service, right? That's what they're trying to claim. I love how all these leftists were calling Cameron Winklevoss an idiot when a Georgetown law professor straight up said, it seems like they're more like common carriers, and if they are, they have a duty not to discriminate. So let's think about this in the context of Matt Gaetz. Donald Trump is on the phone speaking with a select group of supporters. And he says, listen, I'm really concerned about mail-in voting. It's going to be really bad, really, really bad. There's no way. There's no way there won't be mass voter fraud. And then all of a sudden the phone clicks and a Twitter rep steps in, or the phone company steps in and says, we're stopping right now because unless you choose to move forward with this phone call, what Donald Trump is saying is false. You can't just inject that message. Let's try it again. Let's say Trump is on the phone with supporters and he's saying, listen, everybody, I want you to hear what I have to say. I think if there's looting, shooting might begin. And then all of a sudden it cuts him off. Or before he even gets to say it, the phone company stops and says, what Trump is saying right now glorifies violence, so we don't want you to hear it. That's a bold move. Trump is trying to communicate with the public, with his supporters on the phone. Well, you can't do that. The phone would never do that. So why should Twitter? When Twitter placed that editorial message over Trump's tweet, Trump posted to his subscribers, and Twitter instead intervened, editorialized what it was, and sent a message on top. That's something the New York Times would do, right? The New York Times are the ones that would put an editor's note on a post and piggyback on the writing of their user, because what we're actually seeing is that Twitter is showing you got to understand how this plays out, right? Is Twitter letting your phone call connect, or is Twitter writing the paper and hand delivering it for you? They're hand delivering it for you. Section 230 protects them under the pretext that they're supposed to only be removing things under certain guidelines, lewd, lascivious, objectionable. What Trump said you could argue is objectionable, sure, but who gets to argue that? Well, when it comes to news media, their editors do. And if their editors intervene, then we can sue those editors. You see the point? When I write a story and give it to the New York Times chooses to put it out there. If Twitter is now putting a message they've chosen on top of Trump, they are the ones who have written this message. I understand it's very, very, it's on the edge, to say the least. But if Twitter wants to put a message on a post and attach it to Trump's tweets, they've edited that. And now they've put their name on it, the same as if the New York Times would have done the same thing. Well, Josh Hawley is also coming in and swinging. They're working on this. This is a story from a few days ago. They say Hawley and Gaetz on Wednesday separately announced they were both working on legislation to strip Twitter of federal protections that ensure the company is not held liable for what is posted on the platform. All in all, is a bad idea. Hopefully, it's a big ask. That's what people are saying. If Section 230 is repealed, say goodbye to my channel. Say goodbye to Twitter, to Facebook. Maybe that's a good thing, because they're really awful and they're politically biased. It's true. But what's the alternative? You get rid of all these things. What do you get? CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, NBC. Is that what you want? It's not good. What we need is the proper enforcement of Section 230. And what I mean by that is, if they're acting in good faith to remove what they deem objectionable, then I think they should be protected. But if they're getting rid of hashtag learn to code and things like OK Dude from Zuby, you guys know the rapper Zuby, well, they're not acting in good faith at all. So they probably lose their protections. Well, Twitter isn't scared to break the rules because no one's ever come after them. This is the big ask. I'm hoping this is what we end up getting. Not that Section 230 is actually repealed, but that if Twitter wants to play these games, then they lose those protections. But I'll tell you what, man, look, the Democrats want to revoke 230 as well. It might happen. And these social media platforms, they're ideologues too. I can't imagine they want to lose billions of dollars, but that's where we're headed. I don't like these laws. I don't like Trump calling for revoking 230. But when Trump put out the executive order that ordered the FCC to look at what good faith meant and these provisions, I do kind of like it. Because I want Twitter to just be told, here are the constraints. And if you step out, here's what we need. We need someone to say, Twitter, you can be sued at any point and we'll argue it wasn't good faith. So do better. I don't think they want to, though. I think they want to keep placating everybody and acting like, I don't know, they're trying and they're doing the right thing. They're just trying to make sure the mob stay quiet. We'll see how this plays out. This will be interesting. We'll see the response. An FEC complaint. That's clever. I'll stick around. The next segment will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'll see you all then.